Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and today we are going to make a chowder, or chowder, if you actually pronounce R's, and if you're not from New York or Boston or something like that, or New England in general. Guys, I feel real corny today, so we're gonna make corn and crab chowder. Now, don't you worry if you hate seafood, don't let this turn you off. You don't have to add any crab into that chowder at all. It's just a nice little touch because if I have corn in there, why not have a little bit of crab? Plus, I love alliteration. So, not only is this amazing chowder super, super, super outstanding to the taste buds, but it's also so easy and quick to make. You're gonna see for yourselves. It's full of some delicious vegetables, wonderful color, and some flavor that you're gonna savor. And I love saying that. So you know what? If you go to a carnival or something, forget the corn dogs. Have the corn chowder. Let's go. Let's start with a large shallot or a medium-sized yellow onion and dice it up. And now let's take half of a red bell pepper and then dice it up into little pieces like this and add it to the shallots or the onion, whatever. I'm also going to dice up some celery and some carrots. Now, I already bought these pre-sliced because, well, I'm a little lazy today, and if I see it in the market already cut for me, I'm going to do it because sometimes my snaps can get a little rusty. So I'm going to use a half a cup of celery that's chopped up and a half a cup of carrots, but that would equate to about 2 stalks of celery diced up, as well as about 1 large or 2 medium-sized carrots. And I'll add my celery to the mix, as well as my carrots, a half a cup of each about. And now I have 4 of my veggies prepared. I have shallots or onion, some red bell pepper, carrots, and celery, all diced up and now set aside in a bowl. And one more veggie that I'm going to prepare for this recipe, although it'll be added at a little bit of a later time in the recipe, is going to be our potatoes. I'm using about 1 pound of Idaho or russet potatoes. That's about 2 of them. And peel them and dice them into chunks about this big, cutting off any brown or black spots, alright? Moving on. Now let's go down to the control panel and hit the saute button and make sure we're on the more or the high setting and give it some heat. We'll begin with 2 tablespoons or 1/4 of a stick of salted butter. And once the butter is melted and sizzling in the pot, let's now add in our carrots, celery, shallots, and red pepper. Then we'll stir that around in the pot and make sure it's all coated and cooking in the butter for about 3 minutes. Alright, and after about 3 minutes, once our veggies are nice and sauteed in the butter, let's add in 1/4 of a cup of some sherry wine. Cooking sherry is fine for that. As well as 3 cups of chicken broth. And let's stir that up in our pot. Now, if you don't want to use the sherry wine, you can just add in another 1/4 of a cup of chicken broth. That's fine too. Or you can use vegetable broth or garlic broth if you want to keep it vegetarian. And now let's go to our pot and add in our potatoes, as well as what makes this the first part of the name, some corn. Guys, I'm going to add in a 10-ounce package of some frozen sweet kernel corn. Now, if you want to add more corn, let's add it after we pressure cook. Right now, let's only add in this amount because we don't want to overcrowd the pot, okay? 10 ounces is a lot. Let's get that in the pot and then stir everything up in the pot so everything is nice and combined in the liquid. Now we'll just top it off with 2 bay leaves, or 2 kind of semi-broken bay leaves, that's fine too. And then just submerge them in the broth, and now it's time to pressure cook. Alright, now let's secure our lid and make sure that we're in sealing position. And now let's come back down to our control panel and hit the cancel or the keep warm cancel depending on your model. And now hit the pressure cook or manual button depending on your model. And we want to go, guys, for 5 minutes at high pressure. That's it. You adjust using the plus or minus or the knob if you're using the ultra or the max. Simple as that. In the meantime, while our soup is cooking, let's create our cornstarch slurry. And this is going to thicken our soup into a lovely chowder-like consistency. I'm going to add in equal parts of cornstarch and water, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, mixed with 3 tablespoons of water. Again, equal parts. And then just stir it up until everything gets nice and combined. It'll feel really thick, almost like a cement at first, but then it's going to become nice and smooth. Then that's your signal that it's all nice and combined. All right, perfect. Let's set this aside and we'll come back to it in a moment. And now that we're done cooking, let's perform a quick release. And the pin just dropped, so let's take the lid off. Okay, now let's fish those bay leaves out of there because I don't think anyone wants to slurp or bite into one of these when they're eating their soup. So now I want to come down on my control panel and hit the cancel or the keep warm cancel button depending on your model. And I want to hit the saute button and make sure I'm on the more or the high setting. And the way I get there is I hit the adjust button on some models, or if that button's not offered, you hit the saute button to change the temperature. And we want to bring this to a bubble because we're going to thicken things up once we add that cornstarch slurry into the perfect chowder consistency. And once the pot is bubbling, that is going to be our cue to add in our cornstarch slurry, which I will stir the entire soup as I add the slurry in because it's going to thicken things up significantly and almost immediately into a chowder-like base. And that's exactly what we're going for. Alright, so we're going to let this bubble for about 30 seconds and then we're going to kill the heat. And now let's kill the heat. And we do that by hitting the cancel or the keep warm cancel button. And now let's turn the soup into a chowder, and that's going to require 1 cup of heavy cream, or half and half, but I suggest heavy cream for this. And now stir that in with everything in the pot, and watch the magic happen. Look at that. Officially a beautiful corn chowder. But wait, it's time to add the crab. Alright guys, so the first of the 2 main ingredients being the corn we added before we pressure cooked, but afterwards we are now adding the second ingredient to make it live up to its name, and that is going to be the crab. I'm going to use a 6-ounce little can here of crab meat. Now you can either use white or pink crab meat, I just prefer the white, and if you wanted to even use 2 cans you can. Now if you absolutely hate seafood and you want to make this completely non-seafood friendly, that's fine, just leave it out, that's totally fine, but this little dude and this little crab might be sad, but actually, the crab will probably be happy. Or if you want to be extra fancy, you can also totally use my crab leg recipe and just use the meat from the legs. But honestly, this is just quicker and easier, and I'm just going to use a 6-ounce can of the white crab meat, or pink, and I'm going to drain it. And then after I've drained it, I'm going to now add it to my soup. And let's add the crab meat to the pot. And if you wanted to add 2 cans, by all means, feel free to add 2 cans. Just disperse that crab meat up so it's nice and mixed in with the chowder itself. Again, the crab is totally optional if you don't want to add it. And now let's polish this off with some final seasonings. I want to use a teaspoon of seasoned salt. I use Lowry's for this, or if you'd like to, instead, you can use kosher salt or whatever, but I really like Lowry's. And I'm going to add in a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And the nice little extra optional touch of a seasoning that I like to add is some Old Bay seasoning. This stuff is awesome. It's really, really great for a chowder. Sends it home. And I'm going to add in a half a teaspoon of that. And the final thing, which is super, super optional, but I really love this stuff, is a little bit of Zatarain's concentrated shrimp and crab oil. You do not need to add this, like I said, at all, and this stuff goes a really, really long way, just a little bit. So I'm only gonna add 1/8 of a teaspoon of this. Truly, it goes a long way. Literally, it's like that stuff in Death Becomes Her, that little potion, that amount. Actually, I think she drank more than that, but still, you know what I mean. Okay, now let's stir this around in the pot and have all of our seasonings mixed in with our amazing, delightful corn and crab chowder. And guys, in my opinion, the perfect corn and crab chowder, or just corn chowder if you want to leave out any of the crab. But hey, if you wanted to add more of this stuff in there, by all means, feel free to. I mean, the sky's the limit, but know your limit in terms of spice. Again, it goes a long way, it's concentrated. I wouldn't suggest going more than 1/4 to half a teaspoon maximum. And if you wanted to double your crab, by the way, and make it even extra colorful, like I said, you can use pink crab meat as well, another 6-ounce can. And by means, regarding the crab, if you wanted to go fancier, go fancier. Use lump crab if you'd like, or just make my crab legs and just add the meat from the legs. It's perfect that way too. But the canned stuff, honestly, it's super easy, it's quick, it's convenient, it's not that expensive, and it, you know, it's perfect for the chowder itself. And the consistency is absolutely spot on perfect. Not too thick, not too thin, literally Goldilocks right. I'm gonna ladle this into some bowls and serve. Alright, and here we go. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Divine corn and crab chowder. And if you wanted to add more corn, by the way, by all means, feel free to add more corn. You can add in another whole 10-ounce package, or add in half of a 10-ounce package, whatever you want. You can determine it actually at the end when you're done cooking, because the frozen corn gets heated up within seconds. The heat of the soup itself after pressure cooking will totally thaw it and heat it up within about 2 minutes of stirring. And as a final finishing touch, you can add some croutons to the top if you'd like. These are cornbread croutons, and you could really use any kind that you like, but cornbread is great. Also, like a honey butter flavored is lovely. Alright guys, time to try it out. Alright guys, and here it is, the corn and crab chowder. Let's try it out. Look at all this corn. Oh yeah. It's fantastic. I love how all the vegetables inside are like, they perfectly support the corn, because the corn definitely has like the leading star power flavor. It just does because of the sweetness of it, and how the kernels just burst in your mouth with each bite. And then, you know, you have like the crab, which is very, very like, it's like snowflakey crab. It's just very fine little strands in the can, which actually complements the broth nicely. But like I said, you can use lump crab or meat from crab legs, or leave it out completely. You do not have to add it at all. It's gonna be just as spectacular as the soup. And honestly, those croutons at the end, a really nice touch. This is one of those soups that's going to be great not only like this time of year in the spring, but also in the fall, because a chowder, in my opinion, goes great any time of year, because New England Clam Chowder, everyone eats it in the summer in New England, and in the winter, everyone eats it when they go skiing, or, you know, just when they're sitting in their New York City apartment watching reruns of the Golden Girls. But seriously, I love this corn chowder. It's wonderful, it's sweet, it has a wonderful creamy flavor to it. The sherry is a wonderful touch also to the broth, and there's no way you'll be disappointed in this one, guys. It's wonderful if you love chowders, corn, and crab. Well, or even if you don't like crab, like I said. Well, I'm gonna leave some for Richard, who doesn't want to be on camera right now. He's being camera shy. But I have Banjo, I can bring him on. Banjo! And look who we got here, guys. Look who it is. He smells it on my breath, I guess. He's like all excited about it. Banjo, say hi to everybody. Say hey! Do you see yourself on camera, buddy? Do you see yourself? Look at all the people out there. Say hi. Wave hi. Yeah. Well, he's not gonna have any right now. I'm too paranoid to give him like human food. He's a puppy, but he definitely loves the way it smells. By the way, he's trying to kiss me before, right, bud? Do you wanna do that? He's like, anyway, I mean, it's a little disgusting that they do that, but who cares? They're adorable, aren't they? You're so cute. All right, now we go and play with Papa. Guys, if you enjoy this video and all these recipes, check out PressureLoveCooking.com, because all my recipes live right there. One-stop shop, super easy. I love making soups, I love making chowders, I love making really exciting and different things at the same time. I hope you'll enjoy it and my spin on the classics. Also, definitely check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/PressureLoveCooking, and like that page for any time a new recipe drops, tips on items, sales, blah, blah, blah. Definitely check it out. You don't want any FOMO. That means fear of missing out. And of course, at Pressure Love to subscribe to me on YouTube, where all of my videos live. They're all cataloged right there. Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. So guys, in tribute to the late, great Carol Channing, unlike her, you'll always remember when you eat this delicious corn chowder. And I can't end on that. So guys, tonight when you have dinner, don't sit in the corner. Have corn and crab chowder instead. That was so terrible, but I'll tell you what, the soup isn't. Enjoy.